Hi, this is Karen and Tim Titus from Stamping on the Back Porch, and we are doing our podcast about creativity, paper crafting, and life.
Today's topic is called 40 Cards for Lent. This idea comes from Cheryl Hamilton. So it's not my idea, but I loved it. I heard about it and thought it just made so much sense. So for those of us who have grown up with observing Lent, we have.
Yeah.
We grew up Lutheran, and Lent's been a big part of our yearly life.
I never gave anything up for it, though.
And it's, always been a time of personal and spiritual growth. That's how it's seen. And so often we practice giving up something for Lent. In fact, we're reminiscing today about Tim's childhood, and I called his sister, Mary Burks, because she did this fabulous scrapbook for Margaret. So it was a book about her recipe. She was known for her hospitality. And on the right side of each page is her recipe. And on the left side is our pictures and stories kind of about that recipe. And I don't even know what the recipe was facing this, but it was just a great story about that. I'm going to let Tim, you'll tell the story of your growing up.
Which one?
The one about Fridays.
Oh, well, my mother, kind of like me, very social, a lot of friends showing up and hanging out. And if friends of mine showed up and had supper, we called it supper with us on Fridays, and they ended up being Roman Catholic, and they were not eating meat on Fridays, they would have to eat whatever was left over, like, for instance, like cream corn and bread.
And that was a classic, cream corn and bread, and then some meat.
Yeah, but
and the funny thing is they always just laughed about it. For all these years, their home was a place, just a hub of hospitality.
Yeah, but
their mom never did figure out the Friday thing after all those years. So it was just pretty funny.
It was kind of her personality to not care. It's like, well, too bad.
But to not, but I just think it was just pretty great. So
yeah. That's my mom.
So this year, in hearing about this 40 Cards for Lent, I thought, how fun. I love the idea of also using Lent as a time of giving. And I thought one of the fun ideas to connect with that is to get creative about who we send cards to this month. I like the idea of making a list of 40 people. You can send all 40 cards in one day. It's just the idea of 40 cards for Lent. But if you make a list of 40 people, it kind of gets you beyond the obvious that you think of. So one of the thoughts that I had that I just always been on my heart are the caregivers. I think there are so many people who are caring at home for a spouse, a child, a parent in declining health, or, wherever they are. But it's just kind of an unseen thing. And sometimes we think to send cards to the person who is struggling with cancer or whatever they're struggling with. But it's like, how fun to send cards to the caregivers, because they are also really working hard. And I loved, Sharon had said, as a caregiver for my 92-year-old mother with cancer, I know caregivers do get forgotten. I have family members and friends that are in this same position. I will be sending them cards this month. I thought, I just love that. Kind of think of some of the people. I also loved, Jane Brandt had said, they were telling me that she took out the church directory and started sending cards to everyone that was older and that she thought probably wasn't getting out so much now. This is during the time of COVID. We weren't having church in person. And so she just was making a practice of doing that. And she had called and said she couldn't believe how many people actually called her to thank her for the cards, and they had a nice conversation. And I think, the blessing in that also is that the people who got the cards felt a reason to call. I mean, it's just kind of a natural thing. Oh, I'm going to call and thank them. And it just kind of brings in that connection. It's like initiating that connection.
It's a very, very, very thoughtful thing to do. That's wonderful.
And then I was thinking about other people that have shared their stories and people we talk to. And we're talking about the idea of sending cards regularly. Vesta said that she sends to widows and widowers as well as those who are not in good health, and people that are just lonely. Her list is about 40 each month. So many people that she knows she wants to feel remembered. And Kathy said that she has been sending to 5 seniors regularly since the pandemic started last March. And, this regular sending just really got me inspired too, because I thought, How awesome is that? So Ann Bredemeyer is saying that she's been making and sending cards to 5 members of her old book club. 2 are now in assisted living for the past 49 weeks. What a joy this has been for me. Plan to keep this up for the foreseeable future. I added another 93-year-old mother of a classmate too. And I think that idea of regularly getting cards from somebody, it goes beyond the one time thinking of you, let's make a list and send that. And it also just made me think of the idea of asking a nursing home. If you don't know people personally, asking a nursing home is seeing if you can be a pen pal is kind of how I look at it, even though it might be one way. It might not be anyone that can respond back, but ask for 1 name, 5 names, whatever you feel like you can do, and send a monthly card or a card for every holiday. And I was just thinking, for people there, you start getting a card and you've never met that person, but it's like us in the online community. You start feeling connected because it's that same name. You're hearing that and you're just kind of making a difference in that one person. Tim is known, he's pen pals with people, and you understand how exciting that is to hear back and forth. And I think for someone who is in a nursing home and, just having that kind of regular mail come in is, just pretty awesome. I also think this would be a fabulous thing to do with kids. We really need to teach kids to just care and be involved about people. And
I think card making is kind of a timely thing because it really is something that is so important during a pandemic, but also just as a connection to somebody via the mail.
And it could be that start of something.
Yeah.
I love that. If you get into the practice of doing that,
Yep.
then you're kind of led into that. So we're putting out a challenge. Challenge yourself this year to go beyond the usual practice of giving up something and do something like this. And maybe you're going to do 40 phone calls in a month. That would be a fun idea too. But just this idea of doing 40 of something over in the Back Porch Stampers, which is my Facebook group, people are sharing who they're sending cards for. They share the cards they make. We share stories, and it is just such a gift to also hear stories and share back and forth. So we'd love to have you join us. And who would be on your list that we might not have mentioned today? We would all love to hear that. And happy card making, and have a wonderful Lenten season. Thanks.
Bye.